Right, I think we're live. It's been a while. If I go to the Moisky Live channel, I think it's been more than 4 weeks. I haven't done one of the very first things I ever did on this channel when I changed it from, well, just being a random politics, not even politics, patron hangouts mostly, and a bit of mucking around with the 2016 election and such, to being a dedicated politics channel. I haven't done one of these in a while because, yeah, a lot of things have happened, haven't they? And since we on this channel now do regular content, we're in a position where we can watch a lot more of what's happened and comment on it without annoying people in the main channel who got incredibly triggered on a regular basis on the politics coverage. Which I'm okay with, I don't mind doing that because this channel's growing. We have over 4,000 subscribers. The videos are doing well. So yeah, we're getting here. We're getting there. I will say, I haven't watched all of this. In fact, I've barely watched any of it because I didn't know it was on. And then I got so busy on my day off, which is a damning statement for what a day off is if you're busy, that I wasn't able to give it my full attention. So before we get into it, hello RW Bimby, hello Cyrene, hello Wondering Lisa, hello Prospero. Keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Hello Credible Threat, Vent, hello Angry Scotsman, hello Edward Shaw, Amber B, White K, Lulubell, Roy Bob, and Braindead, and Peter Edwards. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. I know for a fact that Iran, hello Echo, and Takeout Joe. One of the things I think it's going to... Oh, no. BBC Fake News, hope you well. Oh, no, there's going to be a line that I... Oh, no. Oh, no. What have they done? Fine. We'll... I'm sure we'll get to it. On the screen now you see... hello, Yorkshire Tom and Cheryl. And Andy Turner. So, on the screen is the new Speaker of the House, Lindsay Hoyle, also Lindsay Hoyle. I've not watched this. I haven't had a chance to balance the audio either because I just finished streaming on Twitch. Hello, Sean. So yes, we should now dive into this. I'll turn this up. Hopefully it's not too loud. If it is, by all means, do tell me. Oh, no. I did see the last part of it. So I missed a fair amount, and then I saw Blackford's questions, and I was like, oh, thank the Lord, someone is asking something that isn't about Iran. I didn't even have time to properly invest in this. All I have to go on is a few bits here and there and what Trups was telling me on Friday. So yes. Order, order. It's not said like John Burko, who was, and I will pass this on now, omitted from the New Year's Honours list. Hello, In Denial and M. Hope you're both well. Let's get into this.
The Prime Minister, Andrew Lower.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Right, so this is the first PMQs since the election. He has got to look good. No ifs, no buts. He has to look good. Especially against, essentially, a lame nothing in Jeremy. He has to look good regardless. He now holds a enormous majority as well, so this should be interesting. Shall we all take a moment to mourn the passing of the consequence of lolcow? Oh, Jesus. Yes. Oh, and hello, Celestine and Lambert. Hope you're both well.
We, of course, condemn the attack on Iraqi military bases hosting coalition forces. Iran should not repeat these reckless and dangerous attacks, but must instead pursue urgent de-escalation.
Just before I forget, right, so I did see a few news things today. I did see a bit here and there. But didn't Iran retaliate and then basically miss everything? Okay, the US with one thing hit their intended target. Iran supposedly with a very high-tech military themselves hit nothing. Oh, thank you, Aya Bria. Thank you very much for the donation. Hello, I'm having a fantastic day. It's been very busy, mostly doing work and on my day off, of course, and going to the gym. So it's been a good day. And I've got a few more things I need to do yet, but this is first. But yes, I did hear about it. Hello, MC, and I'm sure, and Russell Bennett. I'm sure MC can agree here. Iran's response was, I saw it. I saw the bit of it, and I thought, this is what? What have you done? You missed. I'm sorry, but that's just, it's just embarrassing. It's like a game of worms, right? The US threw the holy hand grenade of Antioch at you, and they hit you. You threw one of those airstrikes, but you kind of aimed so far wide of the target, you just hit the water. So let's carry on. Who's Jim? Did I say Earthworm Jim instead of worms? Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I know that the thoughts of the House are also with our friends in Australia as they tackle the bushfires, as they are with the families of those killed in the Ukrainian air crash.
Right, so a thing about the bushfires, there's a huge amount of debates going on, because there were some things I saw on Twitter of some big companies saying it's not arson, but the number of arrests that have taken place in Australia because of people setting bushfires would indicate otherwise. So, yeah. Fail and go, of course, you have multiple issues. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the manhole cover, that's the best argument.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Jess Phillips for leader, everyone. I just want to see that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Motor neurone disease is a terrible terminal illness, with a third of people dying within a year and more than half within 2 years of diagnosis. The last thing terminally ill people and their families should be worrying about are their finances. The Scrap 6 Months campaign by the Motor Neurone Disease Association, which is based in my constituency of Northampton South, has managed to bring the important issue of payments to those with terminal illnesses to the fore, and I welcome the Department of Work and Pensions review of the special rules for terminal illness announced last July. But can I ask the Prime Minister to join me in pressing the DWP to complete its review and to scrap 6 months?
Oh, the DWP. Oh, Jesus Christ. The bane of the existence of everyone. You don't even have to be British. It can be the bane of your existence just by knowing it exists. If you want to tell them to rush, you know what they'll do? They'll take longer, even if it is for something important. Do you know why? Because they're massive cunts. I don't know if you knew this, but they are massive, feckless cunts. And as far as this goes, I would like to see him speed it up. That's simple as that.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to pay tribute to my honourable friend and the work he's doing for those suffering from motor neurone disease, which is indeed a terrible illness. And we're doing everything we can to ensure that the welfare system works for sufferers of that illness. And that's why the Department of Work and Pensions is indeed looking at how they can change the way we help people nearing the end of their life with the most severe conditions, including motor neurone disease. And I'm sure that my honourable friend, the Right Honourable Secretary of State for DWP, would be only too happy to meet my honourable friend at an early meeting, earliest convenience.
I would say, and it's obvious. So for those who don't watch these, there is usually there's 1 or 2 questions before the opposition start. Hello, we are here. And DWP, Department of Work and Pensions. And usually one is from the other side of the benches, and it's usually quite a contentious one. And then there'll be a plant from the Conservatives that gives the Prime Minister a chance to actually answer an actual question. That was it. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I forgot to mention, I am printing a patron badge, and I completely forgot. I probably should have started the printer after the stream. I started it a few hours ago. It's halfway through. I am so sorry if it's distracting anyone. My sincerest apologies.
Leader of the Opposition, Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ooh, that wasn't very energetic.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to start by paying tribute to Andrew Miller, the former member for Ellesmere Port in Neston, who sadly died on Christmas Eve. He sadly lost to this House. He spent over 20 years here, was an expert on science and technology, made an enormous contribution to this House. Our thoughts are with his family and his friends, and he's deeply mourned on this side of the House for the great contribution that he made. I also joined the Prime Minister in sending sympathies and support to friends in Australia, where the fires have claimed over 20 people. Along with the loss of human life, hundreds of millions of animals have also been destroyed as a result of this. This is a warning of what global warming does to all of us. And
No, this is a warning not just of global warming. It's also a warning of what happens when retards are allowed to rub sticks together.
Got to take this very, very seriously, the threat of climate change. And I join the Prime Minister also in thoughts to the friends and family of those who died sadly in the Ukrainian plane that crashed in Tehran last night. Mr. Speaker, following last night's attack on the United States bases in Iraq, can the Prime Minister confirm that he opposes any further retaliation or escalation in violence in a situation where the region is in real risk of going into a full-scale war?
That place has been in war for decades. You're not going to stop it. The additional nonsense with Trump, I'll be honest, many have said that that guy had to go because he was arming the very terrorists that they were fighting in the first place. And there was proof of it. The fact that the Ayatollah has been lauding this guy, a guy that can pretty much be proven he didn't even know, is just a sign of how utterly bent the Ayatollah is. And yes, they missed. Oh, I should also point out, did you hear the silence then? Wow. Just wow.
Well, Mr. Speaker, of course I can confirm that, and I can point out to the right honourable gentleman that the United Kingdom has been working solidly since the crisis began to bring together, in particular, our European allies in their response. And the House will have noted the E3 declaration that was issued by France, Germany and the United Kingdom, in which we drew particular attention to the baleful role played in the region for a very long time by Qasem Soleimani, and that was a collective European view, but a view that doesn't yet appear to be shared by the right honourable gentleman. I've been interested.
That's because he's a pacifist, and there is no version of any violent altercation that he will ever support, because he always believes democracy is the only thing that can solve it. Forgetting here that those in power in other countries that don't respect democracy in the first place, and when they do, it's kind of tangible at best, almost nebulous. Iran is a fantastic example of it. While I do vaguely recall Ahmadinejad, their democracy's pretty bent. And the people who are in power and hold positions of power are, for the most part, useless. And yes, our governments aren't saints in the slightest.
It's in all his commentary that he hasn't yet raised that matter.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Speaker, following the government's support to the United States over the assassination of General Soleimani,
Who was arming Hezbollah, yes.
is the Prime Minister confident that United Kingdom troops and civilians are not at further risk in the region and beyond?
Oh, I miss Ahmadinejad too, Prospero. He was a legend. And I also just completely ignored the question. I have to go back. Sorry, guys.
By the right honourable gentleman. I've been interested in all.
Speaker, following the government's support to the United States over the assassination of General Soleimani,
Something that is supported by a number of nations. They just don't support the idea of a war. Mostly because they don't want it. Although I would point out there have been wars going there for so long, honestly. How can you ever say a war is going to start when the last one hasn't even finished? It's just a continuation and a spreading at best. And yes, I kind of get the picture. The thing with Corbyn, many will know this, that he does ask. He has a good point on a number of issues. However, he has a tendency to then lose his way because then he obsesses. What did Emma say? Same with the fires in California. Stopped controlled burns, and now they have massive wildfires. Oh, jeez. I thought controlled burns were hugely beneficial.
Is the Prime Minister confident that United Kingdom troops and civilians are not at further risk in the region and beyond?
Should be pointed out. And while I would, of course, want the UK troops to be absolutely 100% safe, they're troops in an area that was never meant to be attacked in the first place. If they do get attacked, a response will have to happen. Not necessarily a proportionate one or a retaliatory one, but if Iran then attack us, that's a whole new problem, isn't it? Although I would say the issue with them then sending all that stuff over to Iraq and missing, that was, while many said saving face, it's still cringe. And hello, I just missed your name. Hello to, where are you, Robespire? Oh yeah, Maximilian Robespire. He does great content, by the way, guys. You should go and subscribe to him.
Mr. Speaker, I can of course confirm, and that's an important question, that as far as we can tell, and there were no casualties last night sustained by the US, and no British personnel were injured in the attacks. And we are doing everything we can, of course, to protect UK interests in the region, with HMS Defender and HMS Montrose operating in an enhanced state of readiness to protect shipping in the Gulf. And as the House heard yesterday from my friend, the Secretary of State for Defence, we've relocated non-essential personnel from Baghdad to Taji, and we will do everything that we can to prevent an escalation.
Jeremy,
I should say, so I mentioned earlier, and others in the chat have agreed, that Corbyn has a tendency to obsess. I wished he hadn't, because this is basically Iran's subject, while important, is at most 2-question thing. Yes, 6 questions. I would love to see him talk about the impending leaving. Brexit is interesting. Maybe not down the path he went down, but down the path of how is the government going to proceed going forward. I'd very much like to know more of this. Perhaps talk about funding for the NHS and other. Let's go with social housing. These issues are still really important. Pensioners over winter. These are huge issues. And he hasn't gone with that. He's gone with Iran, hasn't he?
Corbyn.
The government has said that it's sympathetic to the assassination of General Soleimani. What evidence has the Prime Minister got to suggest that this attack on him and his death was not an illegal act by the United States?
Oh no. Oh no. I know where he's going with this. He's going with international law, isn't he? Oh no. I feel like this is it. Do we need to go to The Hague? Is that where we go with this? Oh, Jeremy. No.
Well, Mr. Speaker, clearly the strict issue of legality is not for the UK to determine, since it was not our operation. But I think that most reasonable people would accept that the United States has a right to protect its bases and its personnel. And I would remind the House that the individual concerned, Qasem Soleimani, was not only responsible for me.
Exactly. Right. All right. I'm going to go to what you just Maximilian website. Jeremy Corbyn, and I will say this, I honestly believe this as a politician, is the best politician when it comes to local issues. I don't believe anyone on the Conservative benches is anywhere near as good as he is when it comes to local issues. Because he actually cares about the people. He really does. But excuse me, my apologies for the coughing. But if you put him on a big issue, put him on the international stage, he does not know how to do it. Because what he believes benefits everyone at a local level, but he doesn't understand the vast complexities when it comes to different countries and cultures. He doesn't get it. And this is proof. It's so frustrating. I had this discussion with a channel called Charming Man 93, now called Mitch, on a separate channel. And we agreed that Corbyn could have been a good leader. This was in 2016, I think. Corbyn could have been a good leader of the party in a different time. But not now. He never could have, even against May. I mean, that's the sign of how weak you are. You couldn't beat May. Exactly. I think that's why Corbyn will be better on, and I don't mean this to be rude, but he'll be better on the backbenches, working in committees. He is definitely better at it. Although I would say, I don't mean this to be ageist in any way, but he is getting older. He does struggle to speak a lot. And you can see it when he's very passionate about a subject. Every other word, he's taking a very deep breath. Perhaps slow it down a little. And stop reading from those really badly formed scripts. It's getting embarrassing now.
Many years, amongst other things, arming the Houthis with missiles with which they attacked innocent civilians, arming Hezbollah with missiles which again they used to attack innocent civilians, sustaining the Assad regime in Syria, one of the most brutal and barbaric regimes in the world, and of course supplying improvised explosive devices to terrorists who, I'm afraid, killed and maimed British troops. That man had the blood of British troops on his hands.
Corbyn, Mr. Speaker, if we...
Before Corbyn does his next bit, because I know what he's going to do. He's been baited now, and I can just see that fishing rod appearing in Boris's hands. What do I think of the current lineup of candidates for leader in the Labour Party? I stand by what I said. The only legitimate contender is Sir Keir Starmer. Genuinely, he's not a Corbynite. He really isn't. In fact, he initially had resigned from his position in the shadow cabinet because he doesn't support Corbyn, and he took the shadow Brexit secretary, the shadow Brexit secretary job because he was the best person for it. He supported someone else, actually, wasn't it? Alex, wasn't it? Yes. But I'm not convinced. Rebecca Long Bailey's speech today was dead, absolutely dead. I don't mind Jess Phillips; she's a character, but Keir Starmer. The annoying thing is, Labour want to go down the path of. If some want to go down the path of, I want this kind of candidate because they fit all these boxes, and then being somewhat more identity based as opposed to policy based, then no. But Keir Starmer's probably the best option.
Stand by international law, as I'm sure the government does and would want to, then surely killing somebody in a foreign territory is an illegal act and should be condemned as such. If we believe in international law, that should be the solution to the problems in the world.
You're over 70 years old and you are naive. It's astonishing.
And as a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, could the government say what representations have been made to ensure that the Iranian officials that want to attend the Security Council in order to try to bring about a resolution to the very dangerous situation in the region will be allowed to attend, and in the event of the US administration blocking them, what representations will he personally make to President Trump to make sure the UN can operate in the way that it should and must be able to operate?
Iran should never be allowed anywhere near the UN Security Council. Just saying. Hey, suit yourself. Hope you're well, man. We need to have a little word, actually. Those images you sent me, the Omegon 2021s, you need to pick one, because I can't have all submitted. It's a very unfair, unbalanced contest. But I do love what you've done. Okay. Iran shouldn't be allowed anywhere near the Security Council, and there's a huge overreach to be even say that they have a right to go to something like that. There is obviously a valid reason to have that kind of discussion, but Iran don't need to be there. And as far as then leaning on the US to allow representation or something, no. Yes, they do, and it's... I agree, Maximilian. I really do. It's a huge issue. And that's true, actually. The UN is also equally ridiculous. Who was head of the human rights? Wasn't it Saudi Arabia once? Or are they still in charge of that? That was the stupidest decision. Who thought of that? Oh, they're just for me. Oh, that's very kind, Suit. Because honestly, I was going to say, Suit, you can enter one, and I'll enter it anyway. And if you win, then the it's in my hand. The red glitter moist badge is yours if you win. Yeah, I could still make you one anyway and send it over if you like. I don't mind. You're a friend.
I think the right honourable gentleman is probably well aware that the United States has a duty under international law to allow people to visit the UN, and that is indeed the position that the UK supports.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Iraqi Parliament
Jeez, that
passed a
silence.
resolution calling for foreign troops to leave their country. Can the Prime Minister confirm that the British government will respect any decision made by a sovereign parliament and government in Iraq that may make such a request in the future, and will respect
What are you?
the sovereignty of Iraq as a nation?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, ask, go on.
Mr. Speaker, I spoke, as the House can imagine, I've spoken extensively to our friends around the world, including our friends in Baghdad.
Okay, before that happens, I'm going to wait for that to pop. I'm going to say it now, actually. Kelamati, thank you for the £5 donation. The candidates have to go farther left to appease the membership. Good news for the rest of the country. It makes Labour more unelectable. The annoying thing is, I don't want Labour to be unelectable. And that's the truth. I genuinely want a legitimate competition. I want the government to be absolutely 100% held to the mark. I really do. More than anything else. But if they do go down that path, there are other candidates already. I think it's Lisa Nandy? She said if the party goes down that path still, if they still go down that path, then they're dead. She said that, I believe. And so yeah, if you still, his hair is always perfect. I have to admit, I just don't get it how he's managed to get this. How he still has the schoolboy bowl cut. Just like somebody just went up to him with a pair of shears and thought, actually, you know what? Nah, we'll just get the split ends.
And Prime Minister,
I would say, yeah, Lisa Nandy's a joke. But,
Adil
yeah.
Mehdi, who, of course, has, like many people in Iraq, has come to rely and depend on the support of coalition forces, not least from the UK. And as you will know, there is a very significant NATO mission in Iraq at the moment, helping in the fight against Daesh. And I think it is my wish and the wish of this government, I think it should be the wish of this House, that we should do everything that we can to support the security and integrity of Iraq and of the Iraqi people.
Yep.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Ooh. Right. I wonder. This might be Jeremy's last question. I feel like that was a pretty, the bozo cut. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, people in the chat. Some lovely people have turned up. Thank you, by the way, for all of you who have come here. I forgot I was doing this tonight, so I set my printer to make a patron badge. It's not going to be finished until I go to bed. And I can't pause it, 'cause if I pause it, it will damage the print. Because it's one of those weird things, even though it's in the exact spot where it stops, when it restarts, it'll be off by just a few millimetres and it'll be a huge issue. Matt Hancock is a precious little snow idiot, isn't he? Right, carry on.
The question was if the government would respect the sovereignty of Iraq, its parliament and its government, and the Prime Minister did not answer that question.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
The United States' actions have undoubtedly escalated the risk of a dangerous conflict and in an already destabilised region, putting civilians, UK troops and nationals at risk.
Oh, no.
And leaving the Iran nuclear deal in danger of being dead in the water.
That nuclear deal, wasn't that the one where US had assets that belonged to Iran and they decided, we're just not going to give them to you unless you agree not to make any kind of nuclear stuff. Was that it? Was that it? Because I can't remember. And thank you, Maximilian Robeswell. I actually had not heard of your channel until the comment. I do read comments. And I went to your channel and I was like, actually, it's pretty good stuff. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I might be wrong about the deal, though, because I cannot remember it clearly. So please, in the chat, do correct me. I'm more than happy to be corrected. Nuclear enrichment I believe, and the US had assets of theirs or something. I can't remember. Or they pay them or something. Or was it money paid from the assets? You know what, I'm just gonna stop because I think I'm gonna keep conjuring up ideas. You mean the one where Iran have been disregarding all? Oh yeah, that was never signed.
This government's response is not putting the interests of this country first, but instead seems more interested in prioritising the Prime Minister's relationship with President Trump over the security of the region and of this country.
Oh,
Isn't the truth? Isn't the truth?
Why is it jeopardising our country? Are Iran going to suddenly go, hang on a second, oh, whoa, what do we have here? I see some British people. I'm going to fire at them and I'm going to do the war cry of my people while I do it. No. No, I know what they... by the way, I'm doing reductio ad absurdum. I know they mean the troops and some civilians. I get it. It's not going to happen. You saw how feckless they were at their little warning shots. What makes you think they can hit a Brit?
Truth, Mr. Speaker, that this Prime Minister is unable to stand up to President Trump because he's hitched his wagon to a trade deal with the United States, and that prioritises
cringe.
everything else
The
that it ought
cringe.
to be considering.
I'm going to have a seizure. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Are we still harping on about this? Oh, no. We can't deal with Trump. The deal will be bad. We'll get chlorinated chicken. Shut the fuck up. Chlorinated chicken. Okay, first of all, and this is a big first of all, American food standards, while they do mass produce a lot of products that I'm not overly fond of, it should be noted that when it comes to meat, the food quality standards are higher than that of EU standards. In fact, diseases that are tested for on meat products, in fact, have a lower per capita death rate or illness rate than that of Europe. Stop it. I don't care how they get the result, by the way. I don't care how they go about getting... They can put chlorine on the chicken. They can do that. You know how I don't care? Because it's not going to be there when I put the Southern Fried on it. It really isn't. I'm not going to be like, om nom nom. Ooh, tastes like chlorine. No. Sheeple. Hey, Alex. Hope you're doing well, man. Alright, Corbynated chicken. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, let's get on with this. Okay. Prospero, you have said that this is it. This is the coup de grace. This is the magnum opus of this stream. Prove me right.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I was kind of waiting for the little green men thing to come out about the trade deal. This is absolute fiction. But what I will say is that the UK will continue to work for de-escalation in the region. I think we're having a great deal of success in bringing together a European response and in bridging the European response with that, of course, of our American friends, and working both with the Iranians and with the Iraqis to dial this thing down. But he should be in absolutely no doubt. And this is, of course, the leader of the opposition who has famously received £10,000 from Iranian Press TV.
Oh, yeah.
He should be...
If I remember correctly, didn't Boris's dad also get money from them?
He should be in absolutely no doubt that we are determined to guarantee with everything that we can the safety and security of the people of Iraq, whereas he, of course, would disband NATO. And it is this government that will continue to stick up for the people across the Middle East who have suffered at the hands of Qasem Soleimani and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Quds Force that he has led and whose terrorism he's promoted. And I'm very surprised at the end of these exchanges that he has yet to condemn the activities of Qasem Soleimani and the Revolutionary Guard.
Ah, so I was right. That is the last one of his. Ah, right. Let's go to... You know where we're going next, don't you, everyone? You know where we're going. So let's get him on the screen. Hide your reams. Hide them all. It's paper pervert time. The paper pervert, everyone. Let's do this. Yes.
We have a pledge to reduce
I've been missing this. Come on, paper pervert. Come on.
Ian Blackfoot.
There he
Thank you,
is.
Mr. Speaker. Can I welcome you to your place? Wish you, all members and staff, give you, and I associate myself with the remarks of the Prime Minister, for our friends
It's
in
the
Australia,
fiddler.
tragedy of the Ukrainian airline crash. Mr. Speaker, we want to see a resumption of democracy in Iraq. We want to see the return to peace, and of course we support all measures to make sure that diplomatic efforts can get us
Touch
to
that
a
paper.
better place.
Go on. Don't
Mr.
nurse the
Speaker,
semi, though.
Prime Minister, who should determine the future of Scotland?
Jesus
The Prime
Christ.
Minister or the people who live in Scotland?
Scotland's part of the United Kingdom. The Prime Minister represents the United Kingdom. Therefore, the Prime Minister, who represents the entire United Kingdom, has the final say over what happens to one of the nations within the United Kingdom. Next.
Mr. Speaker, I think the answer is very clear. It's the people of Scotland who voted decisively only 4 or 5 years ago to stay members of the most successful political partnership in history by a decisive majority in a once-in-a-generation choice.
It should also be pointed out that there were recent polls done in Scotland, and they said, actually, no, I don't really want to leave at all. So, no. Oh, and also, just because the SNP in UK Parliament hold a majority of MP seats within the UK does not mean they hold a vast majority within the Scottish Parliament. In fact, while they do hold a majority of sorts, they don't have such a majority that is equal to represent what they have here. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, this is about democracy. In 2016,
Lol. Oh, lol.
voted to remain in the European Union, yet they're being dragged out of Europe against their will by this Prime Minister.
Yeah, bitch. Get good.
In 2019, the people of Scotland elected a majority of SNP MPs to Westminster. The Scottish National Party won the election on the premise of Scotland's right to choose its own future, rejecting the Prime Minister who lost more than half his seats in Scotland.
But he still has a majority in the rest of the country. You may have won. You just said you won the election. That's interesting, because last I checked, there is no conceivable way where you could win an election. I personally, and I would say this outright, I'd love to see you guys campaigning for seats in England, and people just protest voting you to win, knowing the first thing you'd do is be like, right, we're in charge of the UK now. Let's take all the money and just go to Scotland and build a wall. I kind of expect it, to be honest.
Mr. Speaker, today the Scottish Parliament will decline legislative consent to the withdrawal bill we are deliberating later today.
Lol.
Why is this Conservative government
You mean the majority in Parliament?
dismissing the will of the people of Scotland?
Because they voted on it 5 years ago, and you don't get to vote on it again just because you don't like the initial result. I know, and I will respect the fact that you voted under the premise that you would then be able to remain in the EU. Sadly, Cameron gave in to his fears about UKIP and gave us what we wanted, and because of that, a vote happened, which has led to this. And sadly, you have to respect democracy, which means sometimes you don't get what you want. I will admit, I feel a bit sorry for you guys in one respect, because you're about as one-dimensional as they get. So sadly, we don't get to see you guys talk about some of the policies you do in your country, because one of the very few things you're good at is this, not doing anything of any use in Scotland, because all you're doing is driving up taxes and ruining your own economy, because it turns out you guys don't know how to manage money either.
Ignore their voicing and disregarding our Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, I think the real question is why does the SNP keep going on about breaking up the most successful union in history to distract from their abundant failures in government? You know what's happening? in spite of getting an extra 9 billion, in spite of getting 9 billion pounds a year from the UK Exchequer, which of course they would lose if they were so foolish as to break away, they are mismanaging their healthcare, and you're seeing, I'm afraid, no, it is not the fault of Scottish pupils, but you're seeing Scottish schools falling behind in educational standards. Concentrate on what you're doing and stop going on about breaking up the union.
Yeah, I tend to agree. You're focusing on, actually, much like the questions from Corbyn, obsessed and unfortunately were very much lacking in substance and had a complete leg to stand on. This smug paper pervert kinda, is obsessing over something he now cannot control, but wants to appear to be going down swinging. As far as I'm concerned, you're fecked. Okay. And yeah, Boris doesn't have a leg to stand. I know he doesn't. Jeez, he's one of the very few Yeah, no, he shouldn't. I totally agree. Now, as everyone knows, we are done here. We've done a lot earlier than usual. See you later, suit yourself. Thank you for being here. Please consider smashing like if you haven't already, if you did enjoy this. Thank you very much to those that have donated. I've really enjoyed doing this again. I can't wait to do it again next week. It's going to be fun. I'm now going to go hang out with patrons in a voice chat as I promised. And I believe I have a few other little tasks I need to do before I go to bed early tonight. Thank you all very much for being here. I really appreciated this. So see you all later. Good night.